Please stand by for an important announcement.
Welcome to Endless Slumber Party for this week. This is part 2 of First Appearance Fever. We're coming to you from scenic, sunny, tropical Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Well, when it's a little bit chilly outside, one of the best things to do is stay inside and read comics. Anyway, we're continuing on, second part of First Appearance Fever, where you get to see some of my favorite first appearances that I own. So without further ado, here we are with a number 1. This, of course, is in the subcategory of first appearances that are also first issues, and this is a beaut. Nothing too obscure here. Probably a lot of you have this in your collection, but I love this cover. It's great. I think I was saying to somebody just recently about how, this is a great first issue. It's a great story in and of itself. And we can see in this that Commandy kind of outdoes Charlton Heston by the fact that he's got to actually take a rowboat out to see the ruins of the Statue of Liberty, where Heston, of course, got to just encounter it on a beach, like nice and easy, didn't have to do any work to do that. But so, in that way, Commandy, sort of, that's one for him. Anyway, next one is another number 1. Swing with Scooter, number 1. Scooter, I don't know if he's ever going to make a comeback in the new 52. Fingers crossed. The idea of this one, I think, was that it was sort of an Archie type of thing, but also it sort of tapped into the British invasion thing. He was sort of like a Paul McCartney sort of thing. Anyway, I always like these covers that have the go-go checks. Most of the time I think people usually like the go-go checks. I think some people felt it took up valuable cover space, but I'll tell you, those are people from a generation that didn't have to go through the whole chromium enhancement things of the 90s. Like, that was really, you can say to people if they complain about go-go checks, hey, you didn't have to pay an extra $2 per issue for the go-go checks, right? Anyway, I was glad when that trend was over. And here's another number 1. This is Brother Power the Geek, number 1. And we see what looks kind of like Kurt Cobain being chased by a bunch of bikers. And this was just to sort of tap into the whole sort of hippie flower power thing. Sort of a wandering philosopher sort of thing, making observations about life, kind of in the vein of Silver Surfer. Didn't quite take off. It actually only lasted 2 issues, but I really like it. I've got those 2 issues. It's sort of like, one of those kind of kitchen sink kind of comics. Well, not like the kitchen sink press, but I mean like one of those comics where they just throw in every idea they can think of. All kinds of crazy stuff happens. So it's a lot of fun. I think it's sort of how comics should be sometimes, where you just kind of do whatever you can with the visual medium, the visual storytelling. And jumping ahead to the 80s, here we have the first appearance of Lobo in Omega Man number 3. Yeah, some of you might remember Lobo. Speaking of the 90s, he was really got to be quite popular then, in his sort of his later appearance as a big, gigantic, hairy space biker who'd sort of fly his space hog around and just create mayhem. It was a lot of fun because he sort of had someone with, who was on sort of Superman's strength level, but who was just no holds barred. So yeah, that was a good title. So I'm kind of glad to have that. Oh, I love these guys. Weird War Tales number 93, Creature Commandos. This is kind of like if Rob Zombie were to direct a war movie. It's the Frankenstein monster, Dracula, and werewolf, and they're all sort of fighting Nazis in this. It's actually normal guys who've been enhanced to look like that to give them a psychological edge. In case you never read this, Creature Commandos is great though, I quite enjoy it. And they're sort of around now again in Frankenstein Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., so I guess anything's possible in terms of people coming back. So it could be that under the new 52 we will see Angel and the Ape appearing here for the first time in Showcase number 77. And I personally really like this title. I like anything with gorillas, so one of the reasons I really like the Silver Age. Talking gorillas, whatever. This one, he was like a comic strip artist and a gorilla at the same time. And he had sort of this good-looking girlfriend, and they were private investigators. I think in some ways it was a bit of an influence maybe on Howard the Duck. Howard, of course, was a duck, but he did have Beverly, and it was sort of about an animal and a woman. So, you know, once again, it's like it's comics. You can do anything with them, and I like that for it. Okay, and now we have these. This is a rare case where maybe unique in all of comicdom. I'm not sure, but where the first appearance is actually 2 issues. This is All-Star Comics number 69 and Secret Origins of Superheroes. Or sorry, DC Superstars Presents number 17, Secret Origins of Superheroes. And this is, you know, both of these are really complicated titles. And these both count as the first appearance of the Huntress, the version of the Huntress that was Catwoman and Batman's daughter from Earth 2. So, you know, if you don't follow DC, that's all going to sound crazy. But that's what she was. And so I'm kind of glad to have these. She's a good character. Okay, and so finally the suspense can end from last week. I left on a bit of a cliffhanger as to what my favorite one that I own is. And so you're about to find out. At last it can be revealed. This is Detective Comics number 267 with the first appearance of Bat-Mite. I love Bat-Mite. I realize he's a bit of a dividing line for Batman fans. He probably represents everything that either some Batman fans will love about Batman, some people will just want that type of thing just erased from Batman history. Those are the people who sort of don't like to think about Batman prior to 1970, but for myself, I kind of like all versions of Batman. I am a fan of the Batman Brave and the Bold TV show, and you know, at the same time, I also like the Christian Bale movies, so I'm kind of, to me, it's like, you know, it can be one or the other. So anyway, that is all the first appearances I'm going to show for now. I probably have a few more, but those are kind of some unusual ones, so I thought it'd be kind of fun to show those. And yeah, it's enjoyable to show different aspects, different things from my collection. So thanks for joining me this week. I hope everyone has a great week. Try to relax and stay warm, and I'll talk to you again really soon.